Hey everyone, JTISREBORN here, and welcome to another edition of After the Movie. I'm currently in my theater parking lot right now, getting ready to go see Thor Ragnarok. I have no idea how this movie is going to turn out. I'm sure it'll be better than the first two Thor movies, but we shall see. Going in with okay expectations, and hopefully they'll be met and then exceeded. So let's go check this movie out then. Hey everybody, JTISREBORN here, and welcome to another edition of After the Movie. I just got out of my theater. I just saw Thor Ragnarok, and I'm here to give my thoughts on it. I'll go spoiler-free, and then there will be a point in the video at which I give spoilers. So, spoiler-free thoughts. Overall, in terms of Thor movies, this one was easily, the best Thor movie. Is it amazing? No, it's good. It's fine. It's a good popcorn flick. It definitely has its sense of humor. There's some good action scenes there. Some pretty funny moments, and then so there's that. In terms of the story of this one, basically it's like Ragnarok, which is the end of Asgard and all that. But with this movie, there's really two storylines. There's the Ragnarok thing, and then there's basically a Planet Hulk storyline going on in the middle of this movie. And the more interesting stuff is the Planet Hulk stuff. So the deal with this one is Hela, the Goddess of Death, comes up. Legitimately, there's no setup to her, whatsoever. She just shows up, at some point in the movie, kind of out of nowhere. There's no lead up or build up to it whatsoever. Just yeah, she's coming. It's wait, what? And then she just shows up. And then Thor is thrust away to, Soltar, or whatever the name of the planet is. Or Satar, whatever, I'm drawing a blank on the name. But anyways, Thor gets thrust there, and then he meets the Hulk, which you've seen in the trailers, and then it becomes kind of like a buddy cop movie. Not necessarily a space adventure, which, like I said, is the better part of this movie. And then, Hela is just trying to take over Asgard, and then we got this Planet Hulk stuff going on here. So it's two movies going on at the same time, but obviously the better one was the Planet Hulk stuff, because the Planet Hulk stuff is pretty good. We're also introduced to Valkyrie, who is played by Tessa Thompson, and she's pretty good. She's a lot more interesting than Jane Foster ever was as a female lead in these Thor movies. I'm kind of glad Natalie Portman isn't back, because she was just kind of always there, and I'm very glad Kat Dennings isn't back, because she was really annoying in those first two Thor movies. Tom Hiddleston is back as Loki, and there's some great callbacks to the previous Marvel films with him and Hulk, which leads to some pretty funny material. The Gladiator stuff I enjoyed. I thought that was some cool battles. But the best thing in this movie for me is Jeff Goldblum as Jeff Goldblum as Jeff Goldblum. He is going full Goldblum here, and it's amazing. I mean, he's just he's very eccentric. He's very Goldblum, and yeah, he's very Goldblum. So he plays the Grandmaster, who is the brother of Benicio del Toro's The Collector, and oh my God, when those two finally share the screen together, it's going to be the most over-the-top, eccentric thing you can think of. So, that's pretty good. In terms of the emotions in this movie, I don't, you'll laugh, but, you don't, feel anything. At least I didn't, when some of the serious shit goes down, because it's immediately offset by a joke. Which, jokes are fine and all. You need some humor and levity in movies. But there comes a point where, when the serious shit's going down, just let it play out. You let us have the serious moment and just let that play out for a while. The best serious moments I can think of in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, first of all, the scene in Civil War. They obviously had humor in that in between, but the scene where Iron Man snaps at Captain America, that whole scene there, where they're finally confronting each other at the end of the movie after Zemo reveals about the Winter Soldier, that moment is not offset by any humor. It's a serious, emotional moment. Of course, in the scene following afterwards, we had Stan Lee and that make a cameo about Tony Stank, and then the ending of that movie happened. I'm like, oh, come on, you guys. You could have just ended it right there with Cap dropping the shield. It would have been kind of a downer, but it would have left, had a lasting impact overall. So, but yeah, I guess we'll get into spoilers at this point, but, if you're sold on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films this year, I definitely like this one a lot more than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I'm still kind of torn between if I like this more than Spider-Man Homecoming, because I did enjoy Spider-Man Homecoming, although the action is a lot better in this movie than Spider-Man Homecoming, because I thought the action in Spider-Man Homecoming was not very good. And it doesn't lack as good of a villain as Michael Keaton. Like, Michael Keaton was great in Spider-Man Homecoming. And Hela, the Goddess of Death, I don't want to get into spoilers, so, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Cate Blanchett was fine. Nothing too amazing, but nothing too bad. She was good. She's a lot better than, what was that bum in Thor 2? What's his name? Malekith. See, I have trouble remembering his name because of how forgettable of a villain he is, so, yeah. Alright, let's get on to spoilers here. It's about the 5-minute mark, and, yeah, at least at this portion of the recording, so there's that beginning, but whatever, fuck it. Here we go. So, spoiler center. Hela, the Goddess of Death is, Odin's first child, which kind of, like, surprised me. I really don't know who Hela, the Goddess of Death was. I know there's, like, Lady Death or Mistress Death in the comic books who Thanos, like, fantasizes over. Like, that's his whole point. Like, he wants to impress her. So that's why he's getting all the Infinity Stones. So I was like, are they the same character? She might end up being it. I don't know, but I don't think so. But, yeah, so she's Odin's first child who was banished because she had a greater vision of conquering more of the realms than Odin originally intended for. And, at one point in this movie, like I said, she randomly shows up in this movie. Like, Thor runs into Doctor Strange, who's just sort of there. Like, he doesn't factor into the movie at all, other than, hey, I'm Doctor Strange, here's a cameo, Odin's over here, and, yep, I'll see you later. Well, nice to meet you, Doctor Strange. So his cameo, like, it's like a 2 to 3 minute cameo, and it's just there, you know what I mean? I mean, there's a few funny bits with Thor, but, yeah, and where we get some, like, exposition about Jane Foster. Lady Sif's also not in this movie. Earlier in the movie, they kill the Warriors 3, outside of Lady Sif, but, like I said, I didn't really feel anything because I never really connected with the Warriors 3 in the other movies. It wasn't really too serious of a moment or emotional. That they just kind of just died, and I'm like, okay, well, see you later then. And a lot of Asgardians just get destroyed. Karl Urban's in this movie too, and I like Karl Urban. He's like Scourge or whatever his name is. He basically takes over Heimdall's job, and Heimdall's in it too. So yeah, Hela comes up basically when Odin dies. Odin is just like, well, it's my time now. I'm kind of drained of my power, and I'm just gonna die. So, yep, I'll see you guys later. And I'm like, well, bye, Odin. And then basically that leaves Hela, the Goddess of Death, to show up. And I don't know if this is like a plot hole or anything, but I remember in the first Thor movie, Odin basically takes away Thor's power. Couldn't he have realistically done that with Hela, or is there something going on there? Let me know in the comments below what you think of that, because I felt like Odin could have, done something, taken some of her power, or something like that. So anyways, afterwards, Loki and Thor, Loki still being his mischievous self, end up going back through, like, the Rainbow Bridge or whatever, or the Bifrost? Yeah, the Bifrost. They're traveling through the Bifrost, they get knocked out, and then, like, they get knocked off the path, and they end up in the world of Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster, and Thor gets taken to this planet, and he meets Valkyrie, who, keeps zapping him, and, puts something on his neck, and then he becomes, like, a fighter. He meets Hulk there. Also, the intro is, honestly, one of the funniest jokes that I thought in the movie was when they're playing Pure Imagination, when they're being introduced to the planet, and I thought that was pretty great. But, like, nobody else was really laughing at that moment as me. I think the funniest bits were that, and then the part I laughed the most was that song, because I love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That moment was pretty good, and I also enjoyed when, Loki comes across Hulk, and he's like, I need to get the hell off this planet. I wish it would have been fire if they dropped an F-bomb or something, but, Disney will never do that. But, yeah, so Loki's, like, scared shitless, and then when Thor gets smashed like Loki did in the Avengers, and Loki's like, yeah! Oh, my God, how does that feel, Thor? That was pretty good. And then, basically, like, apparently Bruce Banner's been the Hulk for 2 years. He hasn't been the Hulk in 2 years. The MCU timeline, like, after what they did with Homecoming, was, like, they did, like, a huge time jump. I was kind of confused, like, okay, how many years has passed? How many is this? How many is that? So apparently the Hulk, they don't explain how he just kind of just ended up there. They never showed it. Like, he was on the Quinjet, and then he just somehow ended up, and for 2 years he's been the Hulk, and then Banner just, when he sees Natasha, Which, by the way, that still bums me, like, in Age of Ultron, that whole Hulk Black Widow thing. What the fuck ever happened to Betty Ross? I mean, am I missing something? That was his love interest in the first movie. That was his girl, you know? Not Black Widow. Betty Ross. I mean, did anybody forget about her? I think this movie series did. I mean, the MCU kind of tries to forget about the Incredible Hulk, and the movies don't necessarily reference that movie at all. And same with the TV shows. The movies don't reference them at all, but the TV shows reference the movies. So it's kind of a weird thing going on in the MCU with so much content, and yeah, just trying to like rewatch it all. But yeah, that always just like, whatever happened to Betty Ross? Yeah, I'm kind of getting off topic here. But anyways, so Asgard gets destroyed, and it's supposed to be this emotional moment or whatever, but I didn't feel anything because like this one character, this rock monster thing, can't remember his name, was just cracking jokes the whole time. And like I said, jokes are fine when they're like in context, when they're having fun going on adventures and stuff, but this is the destruction of Asgard. You shouldn't be like, oh, well, it's built on the foundation, and then Asgard gets blown up. It's like, oh, well, nothing's good there. And then all of a sudden, a second later, you see the sadness on the people's face. Like, no, that doesn't work. Because 5 seconds ago, you're cracking jokes about Asgard getting blown up, and then we're supposed to feel like something to it, but you don't. You don't feel that emotion. And like I said, that's been a problem with a lot of the Marvel movies. Like, the most serious moment, an emotionally invested scene in like any Marvel movie, I think, is that final battle in Civil War. The one after the airport fight where Tony Stark, you know, and Cap just duke it out. And, like, they're, like, pissed off. They're, like, Tony Stark is legitimately pissed off. Like, he's going to kill the Winter Soldier and Captain America. And when he throws down the shield, that's great. I mean, they had their jokes leading up to it, but when the shit got serious, it got serious. Not this stuff that they're pulling off in Ragnarok. You don't feel any of, like, you don't feel the sadness or anything for the destruction of Asgard. At least I never did. Maybe some people did, but when they're constantly, like, laughing about it, it's like, come on, man. Let it get serious. They did the same thing in Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2, where Peter Quill finds out about Ego, killing Peter's mom. Like, I'm like, oh, shit, here's some serious stuff. And then all of a sudden he turns into fucking David Hasselhoff. I'm like, no, that's an inappropriate time. It's supposed to be this, like, big emotional scene, and you just cut it off with a joke, which, you know, I understand. The jokes are there. It's Marvel's trademark. They like jokes in their movies, and that's fine. Jokes are good. You know, levity removes tension. But the timing of some of these jokes just doesn't feel right. It's not right. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I've been kind of rambling on a bit about this movie long enough. So, Asgard is destroyed, and then, like, the mid-credits scene is Thor, and he's with Loki. He's transporting Asgard. He loses his eye at one point. He becomes, you know, the god of thunder. He's able to, like, summon thunder now, after Mjolnir was destroyed. He's like, I can't do it without my hammer, Odin. So Thor loses an eye. Now he's got the eye patch, which is pretty cool. He's got the shaved head. So, in the very, like, the mid-credits scene, they're on this big ship, and then all of a sudden this other big ship shows up. What could it be? I think it's Thanos. Or was it that ship from Guardians 2? Probably not. I think it's Thanos or something. Loki also has the Tesseract, which, you know, there's a point where he summons, like, this flame monster, Soltar. Yeah, some of the names, like, I get them mixed up. So, Satar, yeah, the planet that they end up on, and the name of this, like, flame monster or whatever. I apologize if I mispronounce the name or just say it wrong altogether. But, yeah, because, like I said, I'm not too familiar with the comics of it. But anyways, there's that big ship in the mid-credits scene. And then after the credits, it's Jeff Goldblum being Jeff Goldblum. And, yeah, Jeff Goldblum's the best part about this movie. I thought Valkyrie did pretty good. Tom Hiddleston was good as Loki, just being his mischievous self. And, you know, Thor was good too. And Anthony Hopkins is only in there for a few minutes of the movie. When he, like, passes on, he still kind of shows up throughout the movie, like, in Thor's head. So, I don't know what the fuck's going on with Odin. He just seemed like, well, my contract's expiring, so I'll see you guys later. So, like, I didn't feel anything when Odin passed away either. Yeah, like, the only, like, scene where you kind of feel something is when Yondu passes away in Guardians 2. I mean, that's the best part of that movie, is when Yondu passes away. That's the only time I felt, like, any sort of emotion for any of these deaths. So, yeah, because, like, people just get brought back over and over again, and just whatever. I don't know. I've gone on long enough rambling about this movie. if you want to see a good Marvel movie, this is definitely one to check out. I think part of me may like Homecoming more, but like at least I appreciate that some shit happens in this movie, and like there are some stakes. Like Asgard is destroyed. There are some repercussions, and not just, you know, oh well, we're good by the end of it. So that's at least somewhat refreshing. So yeah, go ahead and check out Thor Ragnarok. I still enjoyed it. As far as the MCU movies, I don't know where I'd rank this. I'd have to go back and look at the tally, but I definitely enjoyed this more than the other Thor movies. The stuff on Asgard isn't as interesting as the Planet Hulk related stuff. I thought the Planet Hulk related stuff was really cool, but you know, there's a lot going on in this movie, and like it feels like two separate movies kind of just mashed together, and one movie is better than the other movie. Like you almost forget that hell is in the movie at some points. For the Planet Hulk stuff, and the Planet Hulk stuff is really cool. So yeah, take it for what it's worth. Go check out the movie. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of Thor Ragnarok, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.